Welcome to Philly Fortune Talks with your host, Jake Penny, where the city's brightest minds share the secrets behind their success. Are you ready to be inspired?
Welcome to another episode of Philly Fortune Talks, where we highlight the story of Philadelphia's most dedicated and successful professionals. Today, we are thrilled to introduce Bridget Carey, a seasoned registered nurse turned entrepreneur with over 14 years of experience in the healthcare industry. Bridget is the founder of the Greater Philadelphia Legal Nurse Consulting and a board-certified legal nurse consultant, LNC. She specializes in providing consulting services to medical malpractice and personal injury attorneys, enhancing clients' outcomes by evaluating patient stories and advocating for justice through comprehensive case analysis, education, and resources. Bridget's expertise include handling chronicles, clinical summaries, merit reviews, medical record analysis, and expert witness coordination. As a subcontractor legal nurse consultant, Bridget offers valuable support to fellow LNCs, helping them deliver exceptional services to attorneys. Her meticulous attention to detail and collaborative approach make her an invaluable partner in navigating the complex medical issues. In addition to her consulting work, Bridget is a talented freelance medical writer, crafting creative and impactful copy for both B2B and B2C clients. With a master's degree in nursing and extensive experience across the patient care, Bridget brings a unique perspective to her writing, ensuring that her works align with the industry's best practices. Join us as we explore Bridget Carey's journey, her innovative contribution to the legal and health fields, and her passion for helping others achieve justice and optimal patient outcomes. Let's get started on Philly Fortune Talks. Bridget, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Jake. Happy to be here.
Awesome, Bridget. So, your career in healthcare spans over 14 years. Can you share what initially motivated you to pursue a career as a legal nurse consultant?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So where it all started, I went to nursing school in the Philly area, Gwinnett Mercy College, now Gwinnett Mercy University. And as a bright, budding, young 17-year-old in college, I started working as a nurse's aide while I was in nursing school. And from there, it was embedded in me that patient stories really help to influence their care. So that followed me through nursing school, my boards, working on the floor. And when I was caring for patients on the floor, again, that story component really came back. And nurses and healthcare providers are miracle workers, right? We know that. We saw it evident even more so during our 2020 time. But I really was craving to be more impactful. And how could I do that? And usually when we ask how, the answer doesn't come right away, right? As much as we want that how answer. So I just really followed my inner tuition, my gut, like what else can I do? So that led me to a portion of my career in the pharmaceutical and medical device industry. And I was able to work there as an educator. So what that role entailed as a clinician, I was able to educate the sales reps who were in charge of advocating and selling those, the medical devices and components that you use daily. So being able to impact their perspective on how to approach clinicians and patients, and then really supporting there. And from that role, I learned, I can impact patients through education and writing. And that's where my tangent of medical writing came into play. That really weave and wobble. I say that all the time on social media. If people say it, my weave and wobble story, it's a very untraditional nursing path. But when legal nurse consulting came into play, this was an opportunity that I've had. I actually started medical copywriting, and my first client was a legal nurse consultant. And I laugh because at the time I was helping to revamp her web presence, web page copy, newsletter copy, all the things. And she's like, you would be really good at this, legal nurse consulting. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'm good. I don't really want to learn anything new. I'm happy where I am. But that kept coming back up. And I'm like, let me see what this is about. So about 6-7 months ago, I agreed. I was like, you know what, let's learn. Let's see what this is about. And after really diving into the legal nurse consulting space, it's a whole new world. And this I saw as an exponential opportunity to impact patients that need support in a different way, not just at the bedside, right? So maybe something happened, or really to elevate their story in this capacity is where I can bring my writing background, my passion for storytelling, and how to really critically analyze a situation and support the attorneys that are representing those patients slash we call them clients, but they're really patients at the heart. So that
So
was my
what,
breakout story.
okay. What, inspired you, or what need did you see that made you want to found the Greater Philadelphia Legal Nurse Consulting?
So for the Bridget Carey consulting where I established, so why I did that. So I did what I call subcontracting, and what is called subcontracting in the field. So working under other legal nurse consultants. That was because I chose to learn from a mentor perspective. Meaning, learn on the job. And that's how I learned better, learning from mentors and people who've gone before me and have their own way, and then adjusting that in terms of the law, right? Legally. But I wanted to create my own. I saw this as another opportunity. Like, I can impact in the Philly area because I understand, we are one of the major hubs, not only in the state, but in the country, even in the world, for really impactful research and medical care. And there's these opportunities to help improve that. And that's really what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's, there is flack, there's a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek comments given to any healthcare provider that goes into the medical consulting from the legal perspective, medical legal consulting, because it's looked at as you're going after your fellow or previous colleague. And it's not true. It's really here when we find errors, we're able to look at them from a different perspective, seek justice for the client, but then also learn as ourselves to be able to make that impact. So with all of that, that's what's inspired me to kind of pave my way in the Philly area, if you will.
Gotcha. And what's your vision? What's your greater purpose in that?
So I spoke on another podcast, and that was one of the things. It's like, what do you see? Where do you see yourself in 5 years with this, right? And this always makes me nervous. Like, I'm a little nervous talking about it, because you putting it out there, you're held to it, right? Like, hey, social media world, hey, YouTube, I'll see you in 5 years and see if it's true. But where I see this, and what I really would love for my consulting firm or my services to elevate to a point that I can turn around and give back to other clinicians, providers that are looking to get into the space, to also create that impact and mentor them in the way that I was mentored, and to help perpetuate that impact, right? And improve healthcare as a whole, and really the patient care experience. So mine, I guess it would be, if we had to put numbers, right? Business numbers, that's where coming back down. In about 5 years, I would love to have an established group of attorney clients partnered with, and be able to have 2 to 3 other subcontractors beneath me.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, actually, too. Is like, we love what we do. It's impactful, it's purposeful at our own level, but then it's like, okay, I also love help giving back to those people that want to learn from me as well. So it's like, yeah, I may not have the bandwidth right now to be a mentor to someone on a grander scale, but in the future, when everything's fine and dandy, and the balance sheets are looking great, then I can start giving back to the world. And that's like where the true purpose and the true creative comes out as
Yep.
well.
Exactly. It's like that double blessing of like doing what we're meant to do, and then helping others achieve their goals as well.
Yeah,
So it's a win-win-win.
absolutely. So you've successfully transitioned from nursing to legal consulting. So like, what key strategies have helped you, achieve that transition?
A lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot. I try to make time off of social media. Now, I take that time to really, like, to be able to evaluate. I was looking at one of my nurse colleagues that transitioned into coaching, and she had a post. I said social media, but it was impactful to the fact is like, look how far you've come. And that's something I really need to self-evaluate, even as a newer entrepreneur. I am new. I'm newer. I've been in this, less than a year. That doesn't diminish all of what I've done, but it's also to understand, to reflect how far I've come. how far I can still go, and to be patient with myself and give myself grace in that growing and learning process. Even though, as we were kind of joking beforehand, like there's no patience, especially here in the Philly area. It's like, we got to go and get it done. But having that self-reflection has really helped keep that motivation, and surrounding yourself with, I hate saying positive because I always think toxic positivity, but like positive, uplifting people that are in the rooms and have the same vision as you. So I am involved in a mastermind. Joined it before I even knew what I was doing with this, but sometimes that's what we have to do. We take the leap, right?
Yep.
Before we really know the direction. And having those like-minded individuals and different perspectives help to elevate you in your goals. So that's been super pivotal, especially with the different thinking processes of going from healthcare and task-oriented, really, at bedside, to more broad critical thinking and entrepreneurship. As everyone listening probably knows, it's like it's a whole different mindset. It's like being able to forecast and plan, and things don't always go to plan. So what's our contingency plan? So helping that that mindset shift has been, all that working together has helped so far.
Yeah, it's definitely, I was just at a mastermind, a retreat, spiritual and business, over last week for like 4 days. And I'm like the little guy in the group. There's private equity people, and there's, guys that have exited companies for tens of millions of dollars. And they're like, and I'm always like, man, I wish I was so much further. Only if I was so much further. I'm like, look how far you came already. Like, share the wins in the now, not for the future. So it's like you said, it's so hard as an entrepreneur. It's like you always look at what you could have and not what you've accomplished already. So it's like that thing is like the most hardest, component of entrepreneurship, is like being in the now, and then also saying like, how, holy shit, all this that I accomplished, that's crazy in that amount of time. And enjoying that and having gratitude towards it and everything like that. And then you go to what you said, like the entrepreneurial spirit, surrounding yourself with positive people. When you become an entrepreneur, you pretty much automatically become the outcast in your circle, right? You go from line worker mentality, Andrew Carnegie, to Dale Carnegie, all those guys, to the outcast of saying, "Hey, this is traditional education. This is entrepreneurship." It kind of doesn't vibe together. So it's like trying to get into those circles, well, you're still supported, truly supported, not like, oh yeah, we support you, and then they behind you, they don't, it's really tough. It's challenging.
Yeah, it's having the people in the trenches with you. And one of the things, and I see this a lot too, entrepreneurship seems to be having its day in it's cool, right? Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. It's doing all the things, and it's those who are going to be weeded out and understand that it is work, and not to be afraid of work. It is not an easy path, but if it's what you have vision and goals and work to attain it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you're giving the effort. Like that's where I'm at too.
Right.
It's giving that effort, giving the full part, and trying to tap into all of my resources that I can and learn and grow, and that it's a marathon. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And something one of my mentors from one of my previous jobs said, and we know from nursing, and it's called the Brenner theory. It takes 18 months to truly get into a role, like to really be competent. And as a nurse, it was like it takes 18 months to be competent in that position. And as much as my brain is like, you got this, like you understand, you'll be fine. Unfortunately, it can take just that amount of time, and settling into that now and saying, okay, I don't need to know everything, and learning and growing and being with the people that will support you, not just rah lift you, but to help provide, when and what you need, even if it's not what you want to hear. That's
Right.
the fun stuff. It's not what you want to hear, it's what you benefit from hearing.
Yep, that's the most important thing is, surrounding yourself with people that will tell you the straight up truth, whether you like it or not, because that's important in business and entrepreneurship. They'll tell you, hey, take this thing behind the shed, or they'll tell you to keep on pushing because you're a rock star right now. It's not like that saying where it's like, oh, the purple dress theory. It's like, oh, you look great in a purple dress. You know, in business, if they lie about it, that's going to cost you a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And it's like you have your purpose and passion, but at the end of the day, we need to support our families and support
Yeah,
ourselves, right? So
absolutely.
it's finding that balance of all the different points. It's not even I was gonna say trifecta, but it's way more points than three. It's way more than but
So, how has your experience in nursing influenced your approach to legal nurse consulting and leadership at the Greater Philadelphia Legal Nursing Consulting company that you have?
yeah, so nursing at its core, if you're in healthcare, you know what this is, the critical thinking and clinical judgment. So that is browbeaten into us in our respective undergraduate or small programs. And why that's important, especially now, and I think it's true in entrepreneurship that, this is something that it's a transferable skill. It is. Critical thinking is a skill. Being able to take a step back from the situation, look at the total picture. And we always, I don't want to say joke because I'm involved in wound care. We look at the whole person, not just the hole in the person, right? But to take that and think about it, like you're looking at the total package, right? And being able to deduce what is the best next step. That is healthcare. That is optimal. That is critical thinking to make those clinical judgment decisions. Same thing, even in any entrepreneur, because I do, like I said, the freelance writing too, being able to take a situation, look at all the components, and then just make the next step and break that down into tasks. So that's how my brain has adapted and worked. And so far it's working. I will be looking into trying to figure out whether Trello or Mondays or ClickUp or something. I need something to help organize this brain because I got too many things going that I need almost a project management tool to facilitate that brainwave there. But that's really how the nursing has translated into my entrepreneurial adventure.
Adventure journey, yeah. I would definitely say either Asana or Monday,
Okay.
and then for like project management, and then Slack for like team management and like, to-dos and whatnot. They're probably the best, I feel, my personal
I'm just ready to get
experience.
down. So I'm like, I'm getting tallies. I'm like, who can tell me, what do you do? Because I'm like, and when like when you're trying something new, you're learning by fire hose sometimes to just
Oh
get up and
yeah.
running. And I'm like, I don't know how much more I can learn. I need something with a low barrier entry because I've come to the point where my Google Sheets ain't doing it.
Oh, Google Sheets is amazing up to a point
Yes.
where it's not amazing no more, and it's just like, oh my God, there's too much going on in Google Sheets.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and it gets very overwhelming, or God forbid you click the wrong cell and it does something and it messes up
And it
the.
deletes and you're like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
and you
So
worked, months to build this amazing sheet out. I've been there, done that, and it's hell. But it works good for what when bootstrapping.
mhm.
Another thing is like WhatsApp. WhatsApp, you can
Yep.
kind of get like this same feel as like Slack. You just have to make multiple different channels and categorize and then put them in people in the right chats. But again, it's a bootstrapping thing if that's where you want to go with. But back on track.
Yeah, sorry.
Building, your team, your peer group, your surroundings. You talked a little about that in the beginning. What qualities do you prioritize and why?
Honesty, integrity.
Mm.
Really, why? Because can I curse a little bit? We don't have time for bullshit.
Hey, yeah, yeah.
We don't have time for bullshit. And I don't. And it's, I look for and genuine. I'm not just here like looking for someone to like tear you down, but to really give that to you straight in a supportive, constructive way. I used to really take offense. I was an athlete up through college. So like I took offense to criticism as a young
Mm.
as a young person because it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know how to, and you don't. We really don't sometimes. And especially when you're branching into entrepreneurship, you learn how much you don't know.
Yeah.
So learning to take that constructive criticism and feedback, not personally. And I appreciate somebody who can give that without tearing down. Now, I'm not talking about give me the sandwich method. I know that. Like, you did great here. Let's do like I honor conversation. Give me conversation and honest feedback with integrity. And you can tell if people I have not seen this. I've seen this on the outskirts, but I have been fortunate to meet some of the most incredible legal nurse consultants in my branching out journey, and they're nurses. And there's always that undertow of nurses eat their young. And entrepreneurship is a shark tank. It's, blood in the water, they're coming for you kind of thing. So I have not seen that. I have not experienced that, I should say. And whether that's because I can, I gauge who I interact with, but really integrity, honesty, it's really that's where it starts. Everything else is a bonus. And if you want to have a coffee talk with me, I love just having coffee and shooting the goose and
Hell yeah.
I try
A
not
couple-
to say shit, but I was like shooting the goose.
A couple espressos, I'm ready to.
Oh God, you just bring them on and just being able to just have a conversation. That's something
Yeah.
else I truly value, like be able to talk one-on-one and just share a room.
Yeah, I used to have meetings up at La Colombe and Fishtown all the time. Long ago, not long ago, like 7 years ago. But oh yeah, coffee is definitely good. I love a good coffee talk. But no, I'm totally with my core values are like honesty, integrity, and check your ego at the door. Like at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we're all on this earth to have a greater purpose, greater mission, be a servant mindset, and help one another. Like if I'm not good at something and you're good at it, well, and I'm good at something that you're not good at, well, damn, let's figure that out to see how we can be better as a whole.
Let's get a cappuccino and figure this out.
So balancing your professional commitments with like personal life as well, obviously it can be really challenging. Everybody's human. Integration is probably the key. I wouldn't say like balance. Balance is kind of interesting, but what daily habits or routines help you stay focused and effective?
So one is flexibility. And I love that you said, I'm paraphrasing, don't believe in balance, because I was thinking about this the other day. So I have 2 children that I'm the primary caregiver for too. That was one of the cruxes of going into entrepreneurship, which if you're hearing that, you're like, you're crazy. It's like a whole nother baby. It is. I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1-year-old. So balance is a farce. Integration is more, I think it's more key. And one of the words I picked for this year is homeostasis, much more medical, but where I came up with that, it's when you think of homeostasis and you're looking at labs or something, no one's ever perfect. No one's ever perfect all the time.
Right.
We look for a window. So that's where I'm living. Some days I'm more productive than others. Some days, momming takes priority, perhaps over a presentation that I have to do, keeping within deadlines, of course, that integrity component. But some things I've started recently, water, basics, life, keep drinking water. But I finally been able to carve out about 45 minutes in the morning. My youngest is now consistently sleeping through the night. So that allows that time to, do a little exercise, journal, have hot coffee by myself.
Not cold.
Just to sit, not reheated, and just to kind of take stock in what I can get done in the day.
Yeah.
And usually what I do is I do my top 3 priorities, because there's always a laundry list.
Do the rocks in the morning right away.
Just figure out what I can get done, what must get done. So I have a must and a nice to get, nice to-dos and must to-dos. And do that. And then fill in the blanks, and leaving that flexibility component. Any working parents know that sometimes you just have no idea what the day's gonna bring with young kids. And we just go from there. Just do the best we can with what we have. That was something I used to write. I used to work in a nursing home. It was my first job out of nursing school. While I was still in school, actually, I was a nurse. Let me do the best I can with what I have in the time that I have. And that's a mantra, just kind of
Good
like
mantra. Yeah.
Keep it there. It's like, do what you can with what you have in the time you have it. Keep it that simple.
Yeah. You can't control you. We only get 24 hours a day, so do what you can with it. For sure. I always found like a lot of success in structure. Obviously, like, having kids and everything like that is totally different. It's kind of just like you said, just dealing with what the time that you have open. But like Sundays, just planning the whole week as much as possible, and then just like waking up as early as you can, obviously without sleep deprived, but like owning your morning, because if you own your morning, you own your day. Instead of like life attacking you, you're attacking life head on right out the gates. And just like whether that's journaling, reading, self-help stuff, exercise, whatever, a warm coffee. I like to start the day with an espresso first, an espresso machine, and then I go to the Bar Vista and get a fresh press. That's
I love French press. I'm like my favorite kind. Oh,
so
love that.
that's like,
I love
60
coffee.
minutes in, I get the first one, 90 minutes in, I get the second one, instead of it's like just a full immersion of caffeine at once. Um, but yeah. What books or podcasts or mentors have had significantly influenced your approach to healthcare and legal consulting?
Yeah. So what's funny is I have taken not the opposite. I don't want to say opposite. I'm exploring more medical related podcasts. Where my blind spots have been sales, entrepreneurship, business in general, because my educational background, if you will, is in nursing. Elise Archer, she's actually one of my mentor and coaches. She hosts the She Sells Radio podcast, and she really focuses on just that,
Hmm.
learning how to sell in a different way too. Because while I was working in corporate, I did see and appreciate, um, you know, we call it like the masculine way, like follow up and hitting your numbers and doing it. And that is a very valid way of doing business, right? That is not the space I'm in, right? With the consulting component, I don't necessarily have a quota to fill unless I give myself one. And just learning how to sell from more of like a feminine or something that aligns with me. Because to me, and any writer, any salesperson, I love, like my soul hates cold pitching. I know there's a space. I know it's successful. I know it, but I just come across, it's just, it's not me.
Yeah.
I like warm leads. If I can get them, I have cold pitched. I do cold pitch, but I don't just spray and pray. Google
Yep.
somebody and be like, work with me. Like I try to build that rapport and relationship if, within that time. So Elise Archer, she sells radio. Girl, the she shells thing, man. Sounds it's hard to say. It's hard to poke you. And then other marketing things like much more feminine, the Amy Porterfield
Oh
business
yeah.
online marketing made easy podcast,
Yeah.
Jenna Kutcher with the email marketing. I've taken their courses on how to elevate email marketing campaigns and courses and things like that
Yep.
that'll help down the line. Limitless Legal Nursing podcast, because here we are as a legal nurse consultant. Books. So I love hardcover. I love audiobooks now. Being a mom has opened my eyes to listening to books. I have my Brene Brown back here just hanging out. I'm revisiting her stuff. But Rich Dad Poor Dad, like listening to that. The Science of Getting Rich by
Oh
Wallace
yeah.
Wattles. Some of
Yep.
the OG ones on my Audible. And yeah, that's the last month or so. I tend to revisit and re-listen to The Science of Getting Rich because it's short. I
Yeah,
have
it's short and it's
1.7.
also super powerful too.
It
I love
is. So, and what I love about those books too, and why I'm revisiting too, like Brene Brown, The Daring Greatly. I have all her books, but that's where I'm at right now. Reading things and listening to things at different parts of your journey, they just hit different, or something resonates that you know didn't before, it didn't make sense before, and that's where I find true value in re-listening, rereading to things when the time allows.
Yeah, when I was at this retreat over the past week, one of the gentlemen, he was one of the more wisdomful guys, older gentleman, and he was like, it's not about reading 50, 100 books a year, whatever your goal may be. It's about reading those same 10 books over and over again, like you're just reading it for the first time. And I was just like, holy crap. Like, cause if you read a book, you go through it, but you don't actually take everything in. You read it again, and you're like, oh my God, there's another golden nugget. Oh my God, it's a different point in my life that resonates with me. Holy crap. Um, but yeah, I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. But
There's another one. When this one's real good, I have to get her on top. It's called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. By Bronnie Ware, Ware. I did that on Kindle. I have so many Ware's books. And that was interesting. I believe she was in Australia. It was a hospice nurse and, help facilitate people through end of life and things like that. But the top 5 regrets are the common themes that she found that people had at the end of their journey, tied into this book. And that was pretty powerful. So tying that in, like, I really like to balance what I listen and read and all that. But having that paired with the others really helps to balance, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's really to that flexibility, or now what's the dream, financial freedom. Like, there's a lot of like the buzzwords, the keywords, but it's true. Being able to have that flexibility to be home with my children at this young age and be available to them as much as possible is a blessing. So is entrepreneurship, it's a blessing. And I say that blinking a lot because I haven't had as much caffeine as I could use today.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's all going to work out. Like, that's where I'm at with
Right.
it. So,
And I think financial freedom is just like it's been a buzzword, but it's more populated because of social media. And I think it's a little bit used too freely. I think financial independence is the correct word because financial freedom is not the same for everybody. Financial freedom means that we'll call it a 100%er. That means all your bills are paid by not having a job, right? That's financial freedom. Financial independence is being able to do all the things and pay all your bills on your own, like through entrepreneurship and everything like that. Because financial freedom to somebody may be $100,000 a month, or it could be $4,000 a month for someone else. So there's different levels. Like there's financial independence, there's financial freedom, there's vision life, there's absolute vision life. Like there's many things and categories that and expenses that go under each. So there's no one size fit all. But so like what upcoming trends or opportunities are you most excited about and how you're preparing for them?
yeah. So, well, this is one I'm very excited for my own thing to speak on podcasts and be able to bring some light to what opportunities are out there for nurses and other healthcare providers beyond the bedside. Like, not to say we need we need people in the hospitals, in the healthcare setting, caring for one another and being able to optimize health to the individual goal that they have. But the trends, what I'm really enjoying is all of the different ways that nurses and healthcare providers are impacting. I wouldn't say they're giving back, but they're impacting other healthcare providers. Let me expand a little bit. So a lot of nurses that I've seen now are taking interests that they had. So say, okay, when I clock in and out, I went from an hourly, being able to calculate my hours, I need this X amount of overtime to pay this X amount of bill, or to go here and do that, going to the entrepreneur mindset of essentially there is no ceiling. It's what's available.
Yep.
Whole mindset shift. But there are some nurses that moved into the financial space, like that was their niche, to educate healthcare providers on that. And I think that's incredible, because why are we gatekeeping from each other?
Yeah.
Why is there gatekeeping? Why does financial planners need to stay here? Why do healthcare providers need to stay here? That the cross collaboration and that trend of just lifting everybody up, it's not going to hurt anyone. It's only going to help, especially in the long run. So I am really excited about all of that. Legal nurse consulting. Oh, so I just got to touch on it because I am a writer, and there's always a conversation, and this could be a whole nother podcast topic, but AI. Does AI scare me? Is it, no, because Google Maps helps me get places. Okay. That is AI. I think people forget that. Will it be a tool? Sure. Does it need to be checked? Absolutely. They have found that these mechanisms, that the AI tools hallucinate. And that's the actual term they use. They hallucinate and give wrong information.
Right.
So if an attorney or a law firm decides to use AI to develop their medical chronologies versus a nurse or something, like that's fine, but it's also taking the risk that it could be incorrect. So do I think it's taking my job? Nope, not at all. It can be a tool, and it's something that I, as a nurse and as a legal nurse consultant, need to be aware of and learn how to use. It's just another tool.
Yeah, I saw an article the other day, and it was like, you shouldn't be scared of AI. It's not going to take your job. However, you should learn how to use AI to the best of your ability to make your job even easier and better. So like, as long as it's not like Will Smith iRobots out here, I'm totally cool. Like, I don't care about AI. Have at it. Just don't have no robots showing in my front yard. That's all that matters.
Yeah, please, like, come on. We have enough to worry about.
So if you had one piece of inspiring advice for legal nurse consultants, making to make a significant impact, what would it be?
One piece. Invest in yourself and trust yourself. I know that's very like, what the heck does that mean? But imposter syndrome, a whole nother, another topic. If you're confident that you can do it, invest in yourself, invest in the resources, hire a mentor. And when you doubt yourself, because you will, sometimes I'm doubting myself every minute of the day, learn the skills to be able to maintain that confidence within yourself. And I think that can apply to any entrepreneur, So really take the time to support yourself and invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have money, that's the only thing. I don't have money to do it. You can't afford not to.
Right. And if you really have no money, then there's YouTube, there's articles, there's plenty of free resources. Go to Barnes and Nobles and pick up a book and sit in there and read it and then put it back. You borrowed it.
Put in the chat GPT. How can I use it? There are tools there. And invest in yourself doesn't always mean, to your point, doesn't always mean spending money.
Right.
But invest the time to support your dream and what you want to do.
Yeah, and I'd like to add a little bit to that and invest in yourself. People think that maybe education or financially. Well, it's like, wealth. Think of the word wealth. People automatically think financially. Well, the true meaning of wealth is an array of things. It's health, wealth, love, happiness, contribution, spirituality. Like, invest in those things and you ultimately become a better person at the end of the day.
Amen.
Hallelujah. So for listeners who want to connect with you and learn more about your work and maybe, do some stuff with you, what's the best place for them to go?
Honestly, right now, LinkedIn. I am super active on LinkedIn. I have a ghost Instagram account. I have the name. The handle is Bridget Carey Consulting, all one. But there's nothing on it yet, but it'll come to life. So right now my primary is LinkedIn. I can send you a link. It should be Bridget Carey. Bridget Carey RN is my handle. But yeah, that's where we are right now. Cause again, I have BridgetCareyConsulting.com. It's fine. It's a website to have a website, but the best place to get to me is on LinkedIn.
Awesome, Bridget. Well, it was a pleasure having you on Philly Fortune Talks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to Philly Fortune Talks with Jake Penny. Inspired to share your success story? Visit phillyfortunetalks.com/guest and let's inspire together.